Battlefield has always been the series about scale. Huge maps, tanks rolling side by side with infantry, jets screaming overhead while skyscrapers collapse in real time. At its peak, Battlefield wasn't just a shooter, it was a spectacle. But let's be honest, the last few years haven't been kind. Battlefield 2042 launched as a disaster. Battlefield 5 split the community and fans started to wonder if the franchise had lost its identity altogether. So when Battlefield 6 was announced, expectations weren't just high, they were sky high. Now we've had two betas. The first one gave us a cautious taste. The second one, that's what we're talking about today. This wasn't just another technical test, this was DICE stepping up to prove whether Battlefield still has what it takes. And after spending hours in the second beta, I've got a lot to say about where this game is headed. So buckle up, because we're diving into the maps, the modes, the chaos, and the big question. Is this the comeback fans have been waiting for? The second beta ran from August 14th through the 17th, and the difference from the first weekend was immediately obvious. The first beta felt like Battlefield, dipping its toes in. A little taste of gameplay, a couple of maps, a few modes, enough to get people cautiously optimistic, but not enough to win anyone over. This time, I felt like a cannonball into the deep end. 4 maps, brand new game modes, tweaks to core mechanics, and maybe most importantly, a much bigger community turnout. Steam charts, Twitch numbers, people actually showed up for this one. And that's huge because betas today aren't just technical tests, they're marketing events, they're auditions. They're the moment when a player decides, okay, this is worth my time, or nope, not touching that at launch. Battlefield 6 needed to nail the second outing, and depending on who you ask, it either did exactly that or left a few cracks still showing. Let's start with the maps, because Battlefield lives or dies by its maps. Weekend 2 gave us Siege of Cairo, Liberation Peak, Iberian Offensive, and the brand new Empire State. The first 3 returned from the earlier beta, solid maps that already learned into tight infantry-focused gameplay, but Empire State was the standout. This is a Brooklyn-inspired vertical urban map. Picture alleyways crammed with firefights, rooftops where sniper duel across skyscrapers, and choke points that feel like meat grinders. It's fast, chaotic, and it instantly reminded me of Battlefield 3 Operation Metro, which, love it or hate it, was one of the most iconic maps in franchise's history. The difference here? Empire State feels more vertical, more modern, and honestly, more alive. Now modes, the staples are here: Conquest, Breakthrough, Domination, King of the Hill, but we also got Rush, Squad Deathmatch, and weapon-limited variants. That variety alone makes the beta feel alive. Instead of grinding 1 or 2 modes, you can jump around. One match is pure chaos, the next match is tactical, and the next just a sandbox. But here's the catch. Not all of these modes worked equally well. Conquest, fantastic. Classic Battlefield. Squad Deathmatch, a little messy, but fun in short bursts. Rush, we'll get to that, because Rush is where the cracks started showing. Rush is sacred to Battlefield fans. It came into its own with Bad Company 2, and became one of the defining experiences of the franchise. The idea is simple but brilliant. Attackers push to plant charges, defenders try to stop them, and the map slowly opens up as the fight shifts forward. But in this beta, Rush didn't feel right. It was capped at 12 versus 12 on small maps, and instead of tactical tension, it often collapsed into chaos. Shotgun spam, grenade storms, spawn trapping that felt downright unfair. Had moments where Rush worked beautifully, where my squad pushed hard, flanked defenders, and created those epic Battlefield stories. But I also had matches where I thought, why am I even spawning in? I'm just going to get melted in 2 seconds. And that's not what Rush is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a tug of war. Every push, every bomb plant, every explosion is supposed to feel earned. Right now, it's too chaotic, and that's a red flag, because if one of Battlefield's most iconic modes feels off, that's going to turn veterans away fast. So why smaller maps? Why tighter modes? The devs explained it. This beta was intentionally designed to focus on infantry combat. It wasn't meant to showcase the full sprawling sandbox. It was meant to give players immediate intense action. And honestly, I get the strategy. jumping into Empire State and immediately being in a firefight. No downtime, no long jogs across empty fields. It feels good. It feels modern. It's the kind of quick gratification that works in today's gaming market. But the community is split. Some players loved it, saying this is the most fun Battlefield has been in years. Others said this isn't Battlefield, where are my 64v64 combined arms battles? And both groups are right. Battlefield has always been about scale and chaos. Infantry and vehicles. If the full game delivers both, if we get big sprawling maps like Caspian Border alongside these tighter, chaos-driven maps, then DICE might actually find the sweet spot. But if it leans too far one way, half the fan base is going to feel left out. Now let's talk performance, because this is where things got interesting. I'll be honest, I went in expecting bugs. Battlefield betas have a reputation for being rough, and after 2042's disaster, my expectations were low. But this time, it was surprisingly smooth. Explosions looked incredible, buildings collapsed with weight. The sound design was easily some of the best I've heard in years. Every bullet crack, every tank shell, every collapsing skyscraper sounded like a Hollywood blockbuster. And frame rates held up shockingly well, even in the middle of total chaos. That said, it wasn't flawless. Matchmaking had a few hiccups and hit registration sometimes felt inconsistent. Nothing game-breaking, but enough to remind you this is still a beta. The question is whether DICE can iron out these wrinkles by launch day. So here's the recap. The pros. Destruction is back and it's glorious. Gunplay feels tighter than it has in years. Sound design is unmatched. Seriously, nobody in the industry does it like Battlefield. The mode variety is promising, but there's also a few cons. Rush mode needs work. Smaller maps, while fun, don't show the full Battlefield experience. Time to kill balance still feels inconsistent. And there's some technical issues, while minor, they still exist. And here's the thing, despite those issues, people are excited again. This beta pulled in over 500,000 concurrent Steam players, Twitch viewership spiked, and for the first time in years, Battlefield was trending. After 2042, that's nothing short of a miracle. People aren't just cautiously hopeful anymore, they're genuinely saying, this feels like Battlefield again. So is this the comeback? For me, Beta 2 showed that Battlefield 6 has the heart of the franchise beating again. The chaos, the destruction, the scale, it's all there. But it also showed the work that still needs to be done. Rush needs tuning, large-scale maps need to deliver, and the technical polish has to stick through launch. But here's the thing, for the first time in a long time, I'm genuinely excited for a Battlefield release. And that, on its own, feels like a win. Battlefield 6 drops October 10th, and you can bet I'll be covering here full on GamesOracle. But I want to know what you think. Did this second beta win you back, or are you still skeptical after Battlefield 2042? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the full review when the game launches. Thanks for watching GamesOracle, and I'll be seeing you on the battlefield.